Kris. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well, Ben. Wow, all that technical MACD stuff. I've got goosebumps listening to all that.
A lot to cover really fast. I just want, Cantaloupe has been all over our radar. Obviously, a lot of catalysts in the last several weeks, but also technically it's been crazy. And in the VIP trading room, we've been riding this really strong. Initially, when it broke the 20 DMA, then it broke the 50 DMA at 340. We called that to like the second, and this ran all the way to 430. We've been doing really good on the technicals. So now, Kris, why don't you tell us about the fundamentals? I understand you did a deep dive into this and have a new report at IPO Candy, is it, or SPACfest?
Yeah.
Where's your report at?
Yeah, it's at IPO Candy. We're going to use that for some of the micro cap stuff that we want to publish in the absence of IPOs, as you've noticed.
Okay, so we had relative strength yesterday, relative strength the last few weeks. You think that's warranted? What have you learned here?
Yeah, I mean, one of the catalysts for the strength is the company hosted an investor day in New York. And just as a background, like I've known this company and about this company for like probably a decade. Many of you know, like Mark Gomes knows this company well. I mean, he's owned it for a long time. I was lucky in the USAT days that a good friend of mine who was a small cap asset manager down in Texas, he was like, don't go near this company with a 10-foot pole. Management's just the worst in the world, crooks, etc. And that was true. And, we had an activist come in pretty recently. And, the last couple of years have been basically a cleanup at the company. And, now we've got, a new management team. They have, through some combination of luck and acquisitions, gotten themselves in a place where they've got some really important software and technology that enables this sort of, imagine these, networks of vending machines that all need to be managed and, kind of like you would with an ERP system or something like that. But these guys are now in a position to, to accelerate their growth, to expand their margins for a couple reasons. One, competition's receding on the hardware side. But most importantly, the focus of the growth is all going to be their SaaS business, which, so the things, it's everybody loves the story and we love the fundamentals, we love the technology. But at the end of the day, the bottom line for a stock for me is accelerating growth, expanding margins. At the end, that's the only thing that makes stock prices go up. So, this company there's a lot of skepticism out there because of their background. You can hear that in Q&A from the analysts that have followed it. But I like this team. They have a lot of, really deep experience to handle both M&A and growth. So the valuation is undemanding here at $4. I think we'll have a full model on it, probably before they report the next quarter. But even with that, I mean, even just doing like basic back of the envelope stuff, I mean, this is probably a $10 stock in, let's call it 9 to 12 months anyway.
That's cool. So interesting. I like that $10 number from you. Has there been anything from, I think they had an acquisition, right, a few weeks ago, and then the investor day. Was there anything you to kind of look upon this more positively or increase your back of that envelope math on this?
The acquisition, I think, there were two good things about the acquisition. Number one, it gets them into more markets, including Europe. I actually think the acquisition may have been tied to a subsequent announcement where you saw that Sodexo, which is a giant company, has chosen them for a lot of their self-service retail locations. Mm-hmm. So I think there was some relationship between those things, but they also got it at a good price. I mean, it wasn't bargain basement, but it's very intelligent, smart M&A. There were a couple of things. I think they had some customers at the investor day, which helped provide, I think, some perspective that other sell-side analysts that cover the company maybe didn't have before, which is this real-time pricing thing is big, a huge driver, because if you've got a vending machine where you can't change the prices unless you roll.
It's so cool too, Kris. I wish like I had that screen and like I could see what the whole world's eating in real time. That's like so cool.
Yeah, and it's convenience stores where I have a place in New York, I know some of the shop owners, and they're like, yeah, I don't post the prices anymore on the refrigerated cabinets because, they're changing all the time. And, obviously a vending machine, you can't do that because there's no one to ask. So you've got to be able to update those prices. And, it's a powerful motivator. It's clear ROI, right? It's like, okay, that's money in your pocket if you can adjust those prices. So, it's a great, it's just another great sort of catalyst for companies that said, oh, I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to subscribe. It's like, you're losing money every day. You can't change your prices. So, I think it's definitely helping them foot in the door, build the funnel, close the deals. They have to execute. Like I said, this company has earned skepticism over the years, especially with the old management team. And, they're going to have to prove it. But I think they've got a really solid team behind them. I like the CEO a lot. He's very honest, frank, unassuming, not a lot of ego there. I think, and ultimately the company will get sold. This is a market of monsters, as you know. I mean, you've got Square and Fiserv and all the, POS guys like NCR, et cetera. So anyway, it's a great microcap name. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to get it out there. We'll add a few more, but they're all going to share the same kind of thing, which is great management teams, really strong market, kind of accelerating growth and expanding margins, usually led by software.
Cool, Kris. A nice update. Do you do any trading around technicals, or you just kind of buy and hold until you reach your $10 target? How do you do it?
I'm more of a fundamental trader. I will trade around events. So, for instance, I loaded up huge once I knew they were having an investor day. So they've had the investor day. You've had the big follow through. It's up like 25% or something like that. So right. I would, then reduce my position size probably a little bit. And then, but, keep an eye out for other events. So I'm not really a technical person. That's why I do listen to what you guys talk about. I'm the kind of guy who looks at this and I'm like, hey, the chart looks pretty good, but
yeah. It does look pretty good, and the relative strength has been unbelievable the last couple of days with the volatility of the market. Every dip has been bought, and then yesterday was very incredible. I was pointing it out in the VIP trading room. So I think here you have a relatively low RSI here at 65 relative to where it peaked last time there at 74. So that tells me it has more room to the upside. I think we're going to be challenging 430, the high that we had last week. And then potentially you can make a move towards the 200 DMA at $5. The pathway there could be very rocky because it's very hard to fight the tape in a downward market, which we have today, and who knows what's going to happen in the market. So it's going to be rocky and a little bit unpredictable, the pathway there. But I think the bias is towards the upside when you look at the daily technicals on this.
Well, that's good. I hope it keeps going up.
Yep. All right. Kris, thanks for joining us. And again, it's IPO Candy, where you can subscribe to Kris's, is it newsletter format? What is it? Every time you have a report, you send a newsletter out?
Yeah, we post to the site, and then everybody who's on the site gets an email with the content.
Cool. All right. Well, I highly recommend analysis on Mobileye, RUM, and now CTLP, Cantaloupe. Thank you so much, Kris.
All right, Ben. Thanks a lot.